Hey, Wild Mamas and friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Wild Mama Podcast. I'm your host, Tiff, and yo, I gotta tell you, this week was crazy. So, I already quit my job earlier this year, and well, I quit my other job. This is my first time quitting my job within 90 days. Um, and I'm not over here promoting that everybody should just up and quit their jobs multiple times in 1 year, but things are really culminating in my life in a different kind of way. And there's a concept in the book called Big Leap, which I'm paraphrasing for show because I don't remember exactly what this person says. But essentially, you could be living in your zone of um being exceptional, right? Like being super good at something. Um However, it's not your zone of genius, right? Like it's like the thing that you always go to, it's safe, like you're good at it, people come to you for it, but only you know that it's not your zone of genius. So that's kind of um where I've been, right? I've been in my zone of genius when I'm doing Wild Mama and doing the Mama Master Plan program and coaching mamas and just doing all of that lovely healing work. Um, I'm in my zone of like being exceptional when I'm doing like operations work, right? Like I've been a managing director the last year and a half. I've been a director of operations. I've been, all of those operational strategic planning. I've been consulting, all of those things. I'm really good at that shit. However, it's not my zone of genius. And so I could probably live the rest of my life in that, exceptional zone. But I would live and die with a lot of regret because I know that the expression, the full expression of the energy of my soul is tied to stepping into my zone of genius. And I'm telling you, like, stepping into that zone of genius is kind of scary, okay? Like, I don't know why it's scary. Maybe I should think about that and reflect on that. But it is. It's scary. It's like the thing you care about the most. You don't want to fail at it. Um, you're actually incredibly good at it. But there's something about stepping into it that is both invigorating and terrifying. So I wanted to kind of give a little behind the scenes look at some feelings that came up this week that I was actually surprised by and really had to sit with as I was coming to the conclusion that it was actually time to quit this job. Um, and so I've been in this job, like I said, for almost 90 days. I was super stoked about getting this job, leaving my other job, getting this job. Um, and at that time, that was the most aligned decision that I could have made. At Wild Mama, we really try to promote shifting our thinking from right and wrong to informed and aligned decision making. So I really had to work on that myself these last weeks of, getting out and catching myself when I'm in that right or wrong thinking of like, man, is this the right decision to quit? Is this the wrong decision to quit? To, hey, how can I get the most information from myself or whatever circumstances I need in order to make the most aligned decision for me right now? Okay, there's a lot more freedom and a lot less pressure in that kind of framing. So I definitely had to come into that a lot and remind myself to come back to that a lot. But once I made the decision over the weekend, I spent some time in nature and I really sat with where I'm at, what do I feel like, where I feel like I'm being taken, where Wild Mama feels like she's at right now, what's calling from my soul versus beckoning me. I just had to face all the things. I had to face the feelings I was having about the job. Um and I got clear. I got clear. It's time. It's been time. It's time for me to not just quit, cuz that's like actually secondary. The primary decision that I'm making that needs to be made is to step more fully into Wild Mama and this mission and this vision and being of service to mamas and building up this collective. That's the primary decision. But to step into that, I have to make other decisions to let things go so that more space can be created, more capacity can be created in my life to step into that. So, y'all know that making decisions to release and let go of things is fucking hard, right? It's not easy. And I'm going to tell you that even if you've been on this healing journey for a long time, it doesn't mean that you don't get scared to make these kinds of decisions. I had some intense moments of fear this week, and I was so blown away. I was like, what is this? Like, literally, y'all, every time I thought I was going to have a moment to give my notice, to, talk to my boss, let them know, my heart was like, not just beating, it was like drumming, like hitting the drum, like this deep bass, and like I could feel it in my chest, and it felt like it was gonna like jump out, and it like would beat so hard that it felt like it was like robbing me of my voice and robbing me of my thoughts. I think this is that whole fight, flight, or freeze kind of thing. But like it was this intense reaction that I was like, wow, what is this? So instead of judging myself, right, instead of like trying to push past it, I gave myself permission to just kind of try to sit with it and understand it and be patient with myself, to try to understand what that was, because I knew this was the right decision. I mean, I know it is. And still, I'm having this like bodily reaction. So I took time to like, okay, well, what am I not looking at? Like, do I need to look deeper at like my money situation? Make sure that this is good, that I'm going to be good. Like, is it that? Like, do I need to like look at the situation again? And, am I not seeing something? Am I projecting? Am I making it worse than it is? Like, all these things. And then I had therapy. I really love my new therapist. I went to therapy, and I was like, okay, I need to tell you about this thing, with my job that I'm trying to figure out. And as I was talking, I didn't even know I was doing it. But as I was talking about the job, I started like kind of like rubbing my chest, like pulling at like my neck and shoulders, like as I was talking about the job. She was just listening, and then when I finished, she was like, "What is that? What is all this like rubbing of your chest and neck and all?" I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even know I was doing that." She's like, "Yeah, what is that?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." She's like, "Yeah, just breathe and sit into it. What is that?" It's like a visible discomfort. And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And as we talked, it just became clear that like this job is not in alignment. And I was like, "Yes, that's right. It's not in alignment." And she's like, "Invisibly, your body's literally telling you that, showing you that, right?" Through this like gripping and this movement and this like your chest. And I was like, "Yeah, it feels heavy in my chest. I feel confined and constrained. And like I'm not living in my full integrity, being in this work, because I know that wild mama is calling me. She's fiercely screaming for me to show up and to step up and to lead. Um, and so I was, talking to her more, and I was like, there's these feelings of like disappointment. Like, am I going to disappoint this person or other people or my team or whatever? And she was like, Tiff, you're either going to disappoint them or you're going to disappoint yourself. Which one would you like? Which one are you going to choose? Because it's up to you. There's going to be disappointment, but it's either going to be disappointment in yourself and of yourself, or disappointing them. And I was like, damn, son. I was like, well, yeah, disappointing myself is not an option. I'm not willing to disappoint myself. I don't want to disappoint my mamas. I don't want to disappoint my ancestors. I don't want to disappoint grandfather sky, grandmother earth. I don't want to disappoint my greater purpose, my higher self, like my ancestors. Like, no, that's like not even an option. So I guess I'm disappointing this person. But having that reframe was super helpful for me, because it's like, yeah, there's going to be some disappointment here, but I get to choose where that disappointment lies. And she was kind of helping me also see that some of my kind of like, I don't know, because in addition to this like racing heart, there was also just this like kind of over calculating mind that was happening. And she reflected back to me that was my trauma response, So for those of you who don't know, I'm not going to get into my whole story right now, but there's been a lot of different traumas in my life. And one of them was that I was in a cult. At 16, I was brought into a cult. At 20 years old, they arranged my marriage. And at 22, I became a mother. So in that church, and in honestly many areas of my life and experiences in my life and with people in my life, it's not been okay for me to express my needs. It's not been okay for me to say what I want. It's not been okay for me to just simply say no and it be okay. And so I tend to feel like I need to explain myself. I need to justify my decisions, my actions, why I'm doing something. And I have to conjure up all of these reasons why I am leaving, or why this isn't working, or why it doesn't feel aligned. Instead of it just not feeling aligned and that being enough, I often feel like I have to basically build a resume for all of the reasons why this isn't going to work. And it can be draining. And so I was sort of talking to her about that, and just saying like, I feel like I like, these are all the reasons, like I feel like I have to think of this and that, blah 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 blah. And she's like, Tiff, that's your trauma response, because it's never been okay for you to just simply say no, or simply say what you want to need and move on, right? So that was really a big awakening for me, and like awareness, because I didn't know that was a trauma response. I just thought that that's just kind of how I am, or how I respond to things like this. And it was really liberating and freeing, because then I could see that my decision that this was out of alignment was enough. And so any of those repetitive thoughts or those fear-based thoughts that came up, I could actually put them aside and say, okay, I hear you, and we don't really need to hash that out like that. And so I feel like I kind of needed to go through this experience this week of feeling that intense fear, to get to more of the root of why I respond in these ways, because it was very healing to understand, again, how my little tiffs function. So in one of my episodes, I talked about, feeling like at 38 I'm finally becoming an adult, and that a lot of my awareness came from recognizing how all of my little past versions of like little Tiff were kind of leading and running my life. And so in this experience of like the real strong heart palpitations and beating and just feeling like flushed with heat and overwhelmed and unable to speak, I was able to tap in and tune in and recognize that, oh, there she goes again. My little Tiffs are kind of crying out and in fear of what I'm doing. So I took some time to journal this week, and I was just like, okay, what do you want to say? What do you wish to express? What are you afraid of? What is going on? And all my little Tiffs were like crying out, but who's going to feed us? Who's going to protect us? Who's going to make sure that we have a place to live? Right? So little Tiffs were really afraid of not being taken care of. One of their main fears is abandonment, starving. That's like a deep trauma that we hold, is being hungry, like deeply hungry, and just not being protected. And so I really heard those fears this week, and I, could empathize with that. And then I felt really good because I was like, I'm going to protect us. I'm going to feed us. I'm going to make sure that we eat and are good. I'm going to make sure that we have a home to live in. I know that I haven't always known how to take care of us. I haven't always known how to put food on the table. I haven't always known how to keep us safe and protected. But I'm a woman now, and I've grown up, and I have worked through a lot of things, and I've gained skills, and I believe in myself now, and I know that there's a lot that I don't know, but there's also a lot that I do know. And so I've got us. I'm ready to step up for us. I'm ready to hold us. I'm ready to fight for us. I'm ready to provide for us. I am what y'all have been wanting this whole time. We're here. I'm of age. I've matured, and I'm ready to confidently step into the leadership role in our life. And I want you to trust me. And I know it's still scary sometimes. Sometimes I feel scared too. But I've got us, and we're going to be good. The ancestors, they've got us. The Aina, the land, she's got us too, right? Like, we're okay. We're going to be good. And it felt so good to be the answer that I was looking for. I've struggled, even as an adult. I've struggled to sometimes just want someone to come and just like, could someone just pay all my bills so I can have some space to just freely create? Like, of course, we all want that. Like, but, for some of us who are single mamas, that's just not a thing. Like, not all of us come from families that can help provide for us or, catch us when we're down. And it's just unfortunately the reality of, the world we live in right now. But it's also the reality that, Wild Mama is seeking to change. Like, we want to be creating a world that really centers the needs of mamas, because I truly believe that when mamas are well, we're all well. So, best believe that Wild Mama is on a mission to build a new way of operating and create the kind of resources that can support mamas like us. So anyways, it felt really good to get to a point where I felt confident in my ability to take care of me, to take care of us. And as I'm stepping into that, I feel like it's emboldening me and strengthening me to also keep showing up for y'all. that's one of my gifts, is being able to be a grounding and strong force for others, especially for mamas, especially as many of us are navigating so much in these times. And it feels good. Like, wow, mama, she's got us. Wow, mama is greater than me. Wow, mama is me and I am her, but also she is greater than me. And it feels incredible. It feels good to be at this place, because I wanted to be at this place for a long time. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that insight, because one, quitting your job, it's not easy. Making a decision like this is not easy. Um, and it's really important that we as mamas really work to continue to make decisions that are fully in alignment with our values and our vision, even when it's hard, even when it's fucking scary. I was scared this week. It was wild. It was wild. But I moved through that fear. I got to that place of clarity. I was able to comfort my little versions of Tiff. And then later that day, I was able to peacefully quit my job without the raging, beating heart. I was at peace, and I was calm, and I was grounded, and I was in my knowing. And it was a damn good feeling. And I felt immediate relief after I communicated my decision. So I'm encouraging you all. I know that some of you may not fully be there yet, and that's okay. Be where you are and make the most aligned decisions that you can make with where you are. And some of y'all might be closer to where you're ready to make a decision like that, or you're in a place of more awareness. Great. Continue to make the most aligned decision that you can make. So, yeah, I wanted to give insight, because I feel like sometimes when people talk about, growth and healing and personal development and all of these things, they don't often share the nuances of the challenges of getting from point A to point C to point Z. All that in between. It's a winding, spiraling journey. It's not a linear path. And I think because of the society that we live in, the patriarchal, way, the very like masculine way, it's very linear. That is our westernized way of operating and thinking. But the way of Grandmother Earth, the way of Wild Mama, is we work in cycles, and we honor the rhythms, the ebbs and flows of nature and of ourselves. And so we know that even from between point A and B, there's a lot of layers and spiraling and winding roads, right? And so as much as I can, I like to try to highlight the deeper inner workings of us as mamas, the things that we have to navigate, because I want to help you understand yourself better. And while we're all very unique, we also have a lot of shared experiences. And so I hope that in sharing a little bit more of my inner journey, and that it's not always easy when I quit. Like externally, it could be like, damn, Tiff quit again. Whoa, what the hell? But the behind the scenes is like, I'm fucking in therapy. I'm journaling. I'm trying to figure it out. Like I'm scared as fuck. Like, so hopefully that's comforting to you to know that like you can feel the fear, and you can understand the fear, and you can, have all of these things and still make courageous decisions that are in aligned with your values and your visions and your whole self. So I hope that this was encouraging, and if you have questions, reach out, let me know. But I appreciate y'all. I'm wishing you love and peace and groundedness, and I guess the last thing I want to say is, if you're having really strong fears and bodily reactions that feel overwhelming, um, I like to say that I like to say to our mamas that, like, treat your feelings as your friends. Treat these emotions like your friends, and just talk to them. If you're having overwhelming heart palpitations or anxiety coming up, or fear or rage or even joy, talk to them and ask them what they want to tell you, because our feelings have so much wisdom to share. And sometimes they're not the best at going about sharing those things and sharing that wisdom with you, because they're so eager for you to know and to listen. um, but if you're like, yo, 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 okay, 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 I'm going to listen, and just invite them to speak, um, you can really gain a lot of insight into who you are, what you need, and what's at the root of those fears, that anxiety, that overwhelm. So don't be afraid to talk to yourself. Like, literally, I talk to myself, journal, ask yourself questions, be in relationship with yourself. Because that's how you're going to be able to continue to heal and grow and build self-awareness, and gain more clarity, but also be able to step into more courage to make the harder decisions in life, so that you can stay in alignment. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm committed to Wild Mama and stepping in a whole new way. I've got a team behind me of Wild Mamas just like you, ready to serve. And yeah, I'm very excited for what we're building here. So thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting Wild Mama. Thank you for being a Wild Mama and being committed to your journey and to working on your own holding, not holding, healing and wholeness, and reconnecting to yourself, to each other in this community, and to the land. All right, I love y'all, and I'm wishing you the best. Have a wonderful day. Okay, until next time. Bye, y'all.